everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. For those who are new, welcome. If you find that you like this video, make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, and everybody, don't forget to thumbs up this video on your way out. Okay, so this is as you can tell by the title, this is dress number 7 of my 10-piece summer dress collection series. So to catch those who are new up, essentially what I have done is I've selected 10 patterns, 5 indie, 5 commercial from my pattern stash that I will sew up as part of the dress. I have a bunch of dresses, so I chose 5 indie, 5 commercial to come up with the summer dress collection series. And so this is dress number 7. If you would like to see the first 6 that I have done, I will make sure that playlist pops up at the end of this video, and then you can just go through the playlist and watch whatever you like. I'm very happy with all of the patterns I've selected. Even the one that I'm going to talk about today was a sewing fail, and Lady Dane is wearing her. She has the bodice on, but yeah, we're going to get into all of that. Vogue 1935 was the pattern that was selected as part of the collection. Absolutely love it. The reason I selected this is it was last year for our anniversary. Our wedding anniversary is in August, and so last year was the first year I decided I wanted to do a special occasion dress, but not necessarily in special occasion fabric. And so last year I did the Bagley Mishka dress. I'll pop that up here. Turned out beautiful, and I made that in Ankara. And so I was like, oh, you know what, I think this is going to be an annual thing. I'm gonna try this every year, make a special occasion dress, not necessarily in special occasion fabric, mainly because I wanted to be able to wear it multiple times. And I have worn that dress at least 3 times, and I was planning on wearing this one a couple times as well. But anyway, and so the idea was to, my first instinct was to, again, pull some Ankara, look at all of the Ankara, the different sites that I normally shop on, and see what I can find. I did not find anything that spoke to me for this look for Ankara. And so, but let me just say this, before I get too deep into it, let me share with you real quick what I end up wearing. Okay, so I did share this over on Instagram, and yeah, so you probably seen it on Instagram, but okay, if you did not notice, I end up pairing, this was my first time ever styling like this, and I follow a lot of style, whatever you want to call them, style, fashion influencers, different vloggers, bloggers, whatever the case. And I remember seeing always a lot about wearing dresses over shorts, over skirts, over pants, different things like that. And or a dress over a dress, and that will depend on the, obviously, the outer dress probably being a button-up, and then the underdress is a full dress. But anyway, that's besides the point. So I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this. So I went ahead and styled my Timbre, the Love Notions, the one I did the video by the time you're seeing this maybe a week or so ago, and I'll pop up a picture here if you want to see the review and everything. It was the pattern was on sale at the time. It's no longer on sale, but I am a Love Notions brand ambassador. You can use my code SND3 to get 10% off if you're interested, but go check out that video if you want to know the review. Super easy to make. So I wore, and I'm looking here at the photo, I wore that that dress over my Montoya Mayo skirt, and which I made, I think I made that skirt maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I just pulled it open slightly and put a belt on, and then I just put I had just had some flats that I wore with, and of course with my jewelry and everything. And so yeah, I absolutely loved it. I have never styled this way before, and that was something new, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a try, see how it looks. And it worked. I liked it. I absolutely liked it. And I definitely see me styling more like this. I want to do it over some shorts. I do want to try it over another dress. Obviously, it's going to depend on the type of dress it is. If I want to wear it over a sleeveless, not this dress in particular, it could be any dress, any of my dresses in my closet that's button up, that I want to pair over a skirt, you know, or something like that. But I absolutely love the way it turned out. So that is what I ended up wearing for our anniversary dinner out. We had, of course, a lovely time. You all know we love going out to eat, going to dinner. And so, yeah, food was delish. We had a wonderful weekend and all of that good stuff. And that beautiful necklace I have on is by Rissa Artistic Design. And I'll link to it down, or link to her shop. That was made, she has different custom pieces that maybe she might make one of, or if you request something. And so I remember speaking to her, I don't know if she was finishing this one off and it was the one off, I cannot remember, but I got it. I purchased it from her last year in January. Yeah, but anyway, so that's what I end up wearing. I absolutely love this. So you have to let me know what you think, how that looked pulled together. So let's get into Vogue 1935. First off, full disclosure, I do believe this is a beautiful pattern. I really do. I like the drape. I like the look of it. However, I'm not fooling with it. It's a wrap. If anybody feel like they want this pattern from me, I cut out the size 24. You can go ahead and let me know. Send an email, naturaldane@gmail.com, and you can most certainly have it. But so let me spare those who might want to put in the comments, oh, do this, do that, do. Look, I couldn't follow these written instructions. I'm definitely not going to be able to follow anybody's comments. And quite frankly, I don't want to make it. It's done. So let me share with you. Okay, the fabric I end up going with is a this is actually a wide width fabric, so do not sleep on the wide width. Joann Fabrics have they don't carry a huge, well, at least I get, it might depend on the location, but I know the one near me, it doesn't carry a huge selection of wide width fabric in the quilting section. It carries quite a few different colors, but not a ton that I'm drawn to, I'll just say that. But when I saw this, I thought this was absolutely beautiful. So it is 108 inches wide. And the reason I went for that is, keep in mind, this pattern calls for, you must use 60-inch wide fabric, is what it says, right? Now, I'll talk about how you might be able to get away with that if you use something smaller. But at any rate, at a minimum, you pretty much using anywhere from 8 to 10 yards of fabric. Yes, she is a fabric beast. This one, she gobbling it all up. And so, yeah, you have to keep that in mind. So initially when I was going to go for Ankara, I did figure out how much, because Ankara, remember, is only 45 inches wide, but Ankara is sold in, typically the way I buy it, it's sold in 6-yard bundles. And so I think I had wrote it down. If I went with the Ankara, I needed 18 yards of fabric, which would have been 3 6-yard bundles. And yeah, but I would have obviously had to turn it in the opposite direction in order to get this out. And I probably would have purchased 4. So instead of 18, another 6, 24. And 18, yes, that's right. Another 6 is 24. So I probably would have purchased 4 bundles. I was thinking of doing some contrasting, because I saw with the pattern pieces, the skirt is in different pieces, and then the top obviously, and I thought it would have been fun to kind of play with some Ankara with similar colors but maybe different colorways, something like that. But I didn't find that at the time that I was looking for, because I knew I needed this made before our anniversary dinner. And so so yeah, that would have cost me quite a bit, way more than it would have cost just for this. The wide width fabric, oh, I wish I don't think I wrote it down, but it was on sale. I think it's normally between $13 and $16 a yard, and I bought 6 yards, but then I had to go back for 1 extra yard because I ran short for just 1 piece of the skirt, just 1 piece, and so I needed to go get another yard, or I'm sorry, 2 pieces. So that's the thing. She is a beast. If you do want to do Ankara, you can. You just need a lot of it. And I still think Ankara in this pattern would be absolutely stunning. So we're going to go ahead and get into my issues. Now, one could argue that I should have made a muslin. And let me push back on that. I did not make a muslin because the finished garment measurement for, I cut out a straight 24. The finished garment measurement, as a matter of fact, I had the pieces right here because there was a couple things I was going to show you. But the finished garment measurement for the bust for a size 24 is 47.5 inches. My full bust is 45. So I knew, I was like, okay, it'll be, it'll fit nice. I said, you know, I got about 2.5, almost 3 inches. And if I got a little worried, I can always go down in the seam allowance, right? But I was cool with sticking with 5/8 inch seam allowance. And I was very much fine with size 24. So that's why I went with the 24. And for the whole thing, the bodice and the top. So, I'm sorry, the bodice and the skirt. And so I did not cut a muslin because of that. Usually when I do muslins, and to each his own, but the reason I typically do muslins is for fit. However, this one is a great example of doing a muslin, not for fit, because you're not necessarily worried about the fit, but for construction process. Had I done that, so I hope that makes sense. I wouldn't have done, because I saw that I fit into the measurements, the finished garment measurements just fine. I wasn't concerned about fit. And then I wasn't even concerned about the construction, because I did read through, not in deep, long detail, but what I read through initially up to the skirt piece, because quite honestly, I didn't think the skirt was that complicated initially. But when I was looking at the bodice and how to put that together, I was like, oh, okay, I think I get it. So I'm just gonna cut straight into the fabric and go. Now, muslin for construction is a thing. That is a thing. Just to get the construction down, it doesn't even have to be a wearable muslin for the bodice. It's just you using maybe some fabric that's not even close to precious, maybe it's muslin fabric or whatever, and you cut it all out, and you're just going through the process to be comfortable with what it is you have to do, and then decide from there if you want to make adjustments in how the construction process is. I decided to just go right in, even after reading a bit of the instructions. So take that for what it's worth. I still believe in doing muslins, obviously, but this did teach me that about, because I haven't had to do this often, but I can probably count on one hand how many times I've ever done this, but do a muslin just to understand the construction process. And you know, different things like that. So you guys, these instructions were they were just too confusing. That's it. It's plain and simple. Way too confusing. They lost me. I think I even wrote on here, They lost me pretty much when it was time to do the skirt. And that was step, if I had marked it properly, I wrote on my notes, I gave up. It was step 22. Step 22. So yeah, I got pretty far, but I did realize that this bodice is not even right. Because here's the thing. When you put this particular pattern together, it is so very critical to label, literally label all of your pieces. It's not enough just to cut them out and set them to the side or anything like that. Most patterns you can get away with doing that, but because, for example, these skirt pieces, no, that's the lining. Let me see if I can hold this up to show you. So here's the skirt piece, and you have to cut one this way. You have to cut one in this direction, and then you have to turn it and cut it in this direction. And in the arrows and the grain line it tells you to cut on, is shown on here. So one is this way and one is this way. So when you cut that out, so you cutting the different skirt pieces twice, 2 of each. So 2 up and down, 2 straight across for the front and the back pieces. And you have to label them what the up is and what the going horizontal, the vertical and the horizontal. You have to label those pieces correctly. So when it's time for you to sew those pieces together, you're sewing the right pieces together. Your vertical to your vertical, your horizontal to your horizontal. Now, I thought I pretty much did that, because I saw when I was cutting it out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just a lot. And so I kept marking the pieces, making sure that I got it. And I was like, okay. And then I laid them separate so I didn't mix them together. Because the last thing, trust me, the front and back pieces, the pattern piece look exactly the same. But you have to still do this whole vertical, horizontal situation. And so I just kept all the pieces separate and labeled them, so I knew, okay, when it's time to sew them together, I don't have everything all mixed up and confused. You guys, that didn't work. It just didn't work. And when it got to putting the skirt piece together, I'm going to show you, see if I can show you this up front here. When it got to putting this skirt piece together, I'm gonna see if this will show up on camera. I don't know if you can see that, and maybe I'll just do a video and show you. But you guys, where the pockets went, I got, because I marked the pattern pieces and everything. Then when it was time to combine the pieces to the skirt and then bring all the skirt pieces together, I was like, what in the Sam gun is this? What? Y'all, I was done. I mean, because all of it, and you'll see I marked on the pattern, I gave up. And because the first thing I did was, I was like, okay, this whole pocket situation thing, I could easily see where the pockets go. But once I was putting the pieces together, the pockets weren't going together. And I'm thinking, did I mark this wrong? And I spent so much time trying to figure it out. It was just a waste of time. And then I was like, okay, I threw the pockets to the side. I put the pattern down and I said, forget it. I'm just gonna do a circle skirt and gather it in 2, because I had the whole bodice done, you guys. And I figured I'll just gather the skirt into, make a circle skirt and put that into the bodice. Or I'm sorry, the lower waistband. Easy enough. Y'all, that didn't work. Because something told me to put the bodice over me. I have to laugh at myself because it's so funny. I'm gonna pop up a picture here or a video. I put this bodice over me, y'all, and I was like, what? You guys, I don't know. I don't know. I have no explanation. I don't know what happened. However, what I come to realize, and I'm gonna pull you up here so you can see what I'm saying. So this is where you baste and you bring this together and how you get that drape look in the front. What the problem was, I don't know what I did wrong here, but this is not supposed to be like this. You see how this curves in the arm side? Somewhere of me attaching the bodice pieces, I brought something in too far and the arm side ended up going way up under here. So you saw in that clip how the bodice wasn't even fitting around me. It's because the arm side was brought in like 2-3 inches on both sides. I don't know what I did wrong. I promise I don't. I feel like I followed the instructions to a T, and but somehow or another that just did not work. And this pattern does call for a side zip, which is fine. That's no big deal. It is fully lined, and for the bodice I lined it with the same fabric, and the skirt I was going to line with muslin, just plain muslin, because no one would see it anyway. But that's something up in here went totally awry, and I don't know what. Even though I do like how the straps went into the back of this, I don't know if you can tell how it angles into the back here. I really liked how that happened. And the thing is, I did mess it up and I did unpick it because I think I stopped at the wrong area, because you have to mark that really carefully, and I had to unpick it and sew it back in. So I hadn't cleaned up the threads there. But I do like how that went in the back. I thought it was a really nice detail there. So yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how that happened, how I did that. And I will say another thing about this pattern, it calls for, you guys, and here's a tip. If you are making this or decide to make this, tip number 1, for the bodice front and the bodice back, it tells you to cut out 2 fabric, 2 lining, and 4 interface pieces. I was thinking, why are we interfacing the bodice? What's the point of that? And I believe it must be to give it structure. If you are a person that knows how to use boning, I would suggest doing that. I didn't like applying that interface into the fabric, and it was, I don't know, I thought it was a waste. And so I didn't interface all 4 pieces, you know, because they want you to interface the main fabric and interface the lining. That was way too much, and it would have made this so like hefty. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point, to give it all this structure and everything like that. Again, you can decide. I decided I was using this cotton, and I just interfaced the lining piece. That was it. I did not interface the actual outer fabric, but I did interface the lining piece. And so for both the front and the back. So yeah, that is something I would definitely recommend. Another thing I would recommend for your lining, I wouldn't waste my money purchasing lining, quote unquote, lining fabric for what nobody's ever going to see it. I used just muslin, and it was on sale. I remember, I think it was on sale. It was $3.99 a yard, no, $5.99 a yard, and it was like 40% off a yard. That's what I bought. You only need a few yards of that. And so yeah, I wouldn't waste my money on, but that's just me. To each his own. Do what you want to do. But yeah, once it got to that area I showed you with the skirt, and even me thinking, oh, I'll just put a circle skirt on there. You guys, none of the pieces lined up for me to do a circle skirt. I even thought, okay, well, let me try to line it up the way they're showing it in this picture. I just couldn't get it to work. I laughed. I seriously laughed, and I just sat back and I just looked at it and I said, okay, you're done. You're out of here. So I I decided to move on. That was it. That's how I handled this sewing fail. I gave it a try. Once I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm done. These instructions not working. I can just make the, you know, make my own changes to make it work. That didn't work. And the main reason it didn't work was because, one, the bodice wouldn't have fit in the first place, because whatever mistake I made in the construction up around this arm, how I got the arm side pulled in so far in, I must have stitched something somewhere wrong, obviously, because it brought it in too much, which made it wouldn't fit around me. And I can tell. I was like, okay, oh, I didn't catch that. I just didn't catch it. I was completing it and going through it, and then two, it wouldn't have worked because I couldn't figure out how to put the skirt pieces together to make them work as the way they were already cut, as a full circle skirt. And so I was like, okay, instead of me fooling around, I immediately went to stop fooling around, let her go, she's out of here. There's no whip. You guys know I don't like whips, so we not whipping her, none of that. She's done. Figure out what you're gonna wear. Did that. And the reason I didn't want to fool around with trying to figure out the skirt pieces or cut it up to make it work, one, because it wasn't gonna fit anyway, because the bodice, and then two, I didn't want to start cutting this fabric and have all these wonky scrap pieces when because I'm gonna take this apart, and I have so much of this. I mean, I got 7 yards of this stuff. Well, aside from the bodice pieces I can salvage for pockets, lining of pockets, you know, save this, maybe it'll fit, you know, work for a waistband piece or something like that, on something else inside of some jeans or inside of a waistband. You know, get creative that way. We're not wasting her, but the rest of it, I mean, that's some serious yardage I have, and I want to salvage it. I have not decided what I want to make with it. There were people, when I posted on Instagram, suggested a skirt, or something to, yeah, most people suggested making a skirt, but I don't know if I want a skirt. I don't know. I'm not sure if I want a skirt, if I'm in the mood for this fabric to me belongs, it speaks to me in this moment to be a full dress of some sort, not a skirt or a top by itself, but a full piece. That's how this fabric is speaking to me. So I will unpick all this fabric down here from the top, and I don't even have all the skirt attached, because I tried to attach it thinking I could do something and it didn't work. So I don't even have all the skirt pieces attached, so I'm gonna unattach it, put this over to the side to know, okay, I can use that for what I mentioned already, pockets, different things like that. But I'm gonna carefully unpick the pieces of the skirt that I did put together and put it back on the grain. You know, when I utilize, I'm gonna fold it up, make sure it's on the grain when I do want to use it. And I'm gonna have to figure out what I think it's gonna be another dress. I'm not sure what kind of dress just yet, but that's what I see this fabric for. And it's 108 inches wide, you guys, so there's a lot of it, and I'm sure whatever dress I choose, it's gonna be something not overly complicated, probably something I've made before or anything, you know, something like that. But that's the sewing fail, and that's how I moved on. I was like, okay, my backup plan, my plan A didn't work for sure, plan B didn't, my C and D, yeah, wasn't working. So my suggestion is, if you're going to make this, it's fabric hungry, do not interface all of those pieces. That's, to me, a total waste of interfacing. Truly, if you are skilled in doing boning, I can really see how boning would work in this, if it's just the bodice needing a little bit more structure. Oh, and if you have something like this that's a little bit more time intensive and, you know, look a little complicated, do a muslin just for construction, that you know how to construct it. Obviously muslin for fit, but for construction. Do not let Vogue patterns scare you away. I know a lot of people leave comments about, oh, that's why I don't sew Vogue patterns, or I don't mess with commercial patterns. For me, it challenges me. I understand that sentiment, but at the same time, I wouldn't shy away from it. And so, yeah, it gets to a point where it doesn't work. It just don't work. And then you can just move on. You tried, you put your best effort in. And so, yeah, you didn't bring home the gold, the silver, or the bronze. You just went home. So, and that's okay. But anyway, so yeah, those are my tips. I hope this was helpful. And so yeah, you don't win them all. You don't win them all. There was part of my plans. If you saw how do I plan my sewing projects video, that was just up on this past Sunday. And go check that out. Everything isn't a win. There will be some fails. There will be some hits. There will be some misses. Everybody experiences them. And so it just, you know, up to you how you decide, you know, will you let it defeat you, or will you just say, like me, okay, she's out of here, and you keep it moving. And so that's exactly what I did, and I was still cute on our anniversary out. So, but anyway, everybody, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for Sunday. Sunday's video will be dress number 8. I have 2 more dresses left, but Sunday's video will be dress number 8. Love, love, love it, how it turned out. Have some tips to share with you on that one. But yeah, thank you everybody so much again for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. Again, leave your comments, thoughts, everything down in the comment section down below. But I thank you everybody so much for tuning in today. You all have a blessed rest of your week, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.